Guess what? It's Monday.
It's Monday.
We're live on Instagram.
We're live on Instagram,
Yes.
People. Check that out sometime if you ever get the opportunity to do so. It is Monday. It is 8 o'clock. And if it's Monday at 8 o'clock, then you're stuck with the two of us numbnuts. Hi. It's Mighty Monkey's Nerd World Weekly.
Da, da, da.
Why am I doing this? I don't
know, but you're shaking your whole
I know.
screen.
Well, it's, we're gonna go with it.
Okay.
So how are you out there in Rochester and beyond? We're huge in Egypt still.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not sure why. But I think statistically speaking, Egyptians are relatively small compared to Dan and me. So that might be why we're huge in Egypt.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So it's good to see you all. I hope you've been having a good week. I know that in Rochester, weather has been essentially its usual bipolar schizophrenic self.
Yes.
So
it was beautiful when I went into work this morning at 60 some odd degrees.
And then
it's not so beautiful. I'm cold now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Hence the sweatshirt.
Well, I do have an open window.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
It gets warm in this room because of the computer and the lights and all that stuff. It gets really warm. So today I was at my workplace in the cafeteria getting my usual breakfast sandwich, and one of my colleagues in the building, somebody I don't actually work directly with in my own department, but somebody who I work at that particular place with, comes up. She goes, I've been meaning to ask you for a while. Do you know Flower City Comic Con? And I'm like,
no.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. I kind of have an in with that one. I kind of know a little bit about it. And she said, her daughter goes to FC3 often.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, how often? She's been, there's been 8 of them. She goes, I think she's been to all of them. Well,
yay.
Then her daughter's my new favorite person. So for Deborah's daughter, hi, yep, it's me. I work with your mother.
Do you want to hop over to the comments to see what's going on?
I might hop over in the comments. I might do that. It's a thing. Nico's on board.
I saw Nico on Saturday.
Did you see Nico on Saturday? Were you at the Collector's Con?
Yes, we waved.
That's awesome.
That type of thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we figured that Ann and I can't go anywhere without being recognized.
It's true.
Ann's like, how can we go someplace incognito? I go, we have to be in cosplay and not together.
I think that'd be hilarious to see the two of you in cosplay.
And we have to be on opposite ends of the room.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
No, it's probably not going to happen.
It's never going to happen. How you doing, Peter? Good to see you. So let's do our recap as we've promised to do. Nothing new, unfortunately. Yo in for about 10 and then on the way back to work. Good to see Andy Sr. Let's do the recap. Not really much new to talk about, although we do have some newer guests that got talked about recently.
Nothing official.
Nothing official. Okay, so never mind. I didn't say that.
Yeah, no, we have emails going back and forth between all of us.
Oh, was that the folks that Brian brought to our attention?
Right. So,
so we were solidifying that one, but we haven't solved that.
No, we have a board meeting tomorrow, so we're going to talk a little bit more about guests to see what agents I need to reach out to get information from, and then
so we're still, September's 12th, 13th, and 14th. The 12th, that Friday evening, Friday afternoon and early evening, is going to be an anime day.
Anime themed
day, the entire day. The vendor floor will be loaded in by that time, and will probably be for a limited time that day. Don't quote me on that one. We'll be open for a little bit for some early shopping, but we're not depending on the vendors for a 24/7 presence on that Friday.
Correct.
If I remember
whoever is loaded in and ready.
Yes.
Whatever.
But then also, if they choose to say, okay, we've had enough today, we got to get ready for the weekend, then they close up shop. That's it. That's done. They're gone. So and then we may still be kind of partying and having a good old time. There will be another D&D game like we had last year. That was fun. Mm-hmm. I got to DM for some folks. We might have a new DM for this year. So we'll see what happens. There's some new stuff going on there, but we will be doing the cosplay parties and things like that, like we did last Friday or last year's Friday anyway. And then Saturday and Sunday, the 13th and 14th, we will be cruising along. We have Guy Gilchrist and I think Rolf and Kermit. Rolf and Kermit,
I think traveled.
He was not part of the Muppet Show. He was a cartoonist or an animator. He was
Jim Henson's cartoonist.
Okay, so he worked with Jim Henson directly, and he drew a lot of the artwork.
Yes.
Okay. So
he's
on budget, Chris. Yeah, I know. Seriously, well, we've burned ourselves in the past, so we're always very cautious about that.
Hmm.
But we do have some pokers in the fire as usual, and as we have guest announcements, we will bring them to you. The vendor application is open. The panel application is open. The volunteer application is open. How would you make use of those particular applications? You would go to www.fc3roc.com. And in the upper right corner, you will see a button that says apply. You click on that, and all of our applications are right there in that particular link. So volunteers, especially the volunteer one. And before I forget, I want to mention that the volunteer application is there, and the panel schedule or the panel application is there. The vendor exhibition panel is there. The press pass request is there. Please, if you have a podcast that services about 15, 16 people like this one, and you want a press pass, it's probably not going to happen. I'm going to be honest with you on this one. We've had a lot of people kind of abuse that privilege over the years. So we're going to be hooking up credentialed press folks, so be wary of what you put in for. Can you do another Nerd World News live on Saturday? We can consider it. That's something we can work on. It depends on how busy we are. Tiny's working with the guests and me making sure the volunteers are in the right place at the right time.
It would be very hard to pin down the two of us at the same time.
It is a challenge these days.
For that. It's a great idea, Peter, but I don't know how feasible that would be.
It used to be easier when I was the program director and I lived in the panel rooms, right? So she just needed to break away for a little bit and join me there is essentially what was going on. Nowadays, we are both in jobs that are all over the convention at this point. And like last year, we had several volunteers apply and say they were coming and then not show up. And I ended up doing a lot of different jobs throughout the course of the weekend. So I don't have the time to break away anymore, unfortunately. But we can definitely take that under advisement. And if we find some time to wheedle that in, we'll work with the programming crew and see what we can come up with. But that is a tomorrow concept, a tomorrow question. We'll put a pin in that one. It's great suggestion, though. Great suggestion.
Definitely put a pin. And if people have suggestions for anime night activities,
yes,
we're always looking
we would love to hear that. So pass that along.
That's not my strength.
Oh, and before I forget, the volunteer application is live. So
when we were at Toricon, Dan and I, a couple weekends ago, we were talking about it, and like all the attendees were like really super excited about
season.
That. And our friend Ariel.
Did you see you had an aerial sighting?
We had an aerial sighting.
I'm so excited for that because I miss that girl so much. She's so awesome.
She was going to be thinking about some activities that would be easy for us to host.
We also have the grand mistress of our old event team is moving back to Rochester.
Kelsey?
Miss Sarah.
Oh, Miss Sarah?
Yeah, Miss Sarah's going to be coming back to Rochester. And she said, I want to hang out with my FC3 family again. And we're like, oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
So
we'd love to have Sarah come back.
Yeah.
Right. No, put a $100 fee in the cancellation volunteer. I'd love to. That'd be awesome. Oh my God.
Dan will say no.
Yeah, Dan won't let me do it, but it would be funny as hell. That'd be it.
April Fools.
Yeah, tomorrow's April Fool's Day.
I know.
Wow.
So
I hadn't even considered the connotation of that.
Yeah.
I have work to do.
It's like be wary and trust no one.
Yeah.
Just like any other given day.
Yeah. and seriously, on a serious note, okay? On a serious note, I have several friends that over the years, married couples that have worked very hard to have children and have been very disappointed with heartbreaking results.
No.
When you do the I'm pregnant, April Fools, you don't understand it's not funny. It's not funny. And it hurts people's feelings, especially when they've had, issues like that. So please speak, if you're going to throw elbows at people, have fun, but be mindful of the audience you're going for, would you? Right. So, and I wasn't fooling. Yeah. No, I trust that. So just be, have
be fun, but be mindful.
The real trick to carrying on is not getting carried away. Good words for life. Anyway.
Speaking of getting carried away. Hey, you pushed me away.
Well, I can't carry you.
No,
I have tendonitis in my right elbow. I can't carry anything.
I meant
I could carry a tune.
I can't even do that. Just because I can't
I
sing.
could carry Grant. I could carry, I could carry if you show me how.
I remember I tell the
It's Hawkeye Pierce and Mash said that same thing one time. It's stuck in my head.
speaking of like not carrying a tune or whatever, there was a couple of attendees at TourCon that we were talking about. They're like, "Oh, that's my birthday weekend." I'm like, "Well,
Come celebrate.
enjoy it and
We'll sing you happy
celebrate."
birthday.
Exactly. I said, just because I can't sing doesn't mean I won't sing.
Yeah, just because you can't sing doesn't mean you won't sing. That has been Tanya's mantra for her entire adult life.
Oh, my kids heard me this morning at school singing the theme song to Between the Lions.
Oh, goody.
So if anyone from the year 2000 to 2011 watched the PBS show Between the Lions about the library, I was singing the theme song this morning, and the kids are like, "What?"
It's a puppy sighting.
Yeah.
All right. So you gotta get to work, kid.
Yeah. Now 11 minutes in, almost 12 minutes in, and now getting to talk about.
But here's the thing: that we talked about the fact that
It's going to be different.
this is going to be. We're not doing news anymore. We're doing show updates, which was the original plan for the show 6-7 years ago when I started doing Mondays at 8.
Mhm.
Was to talk about the convention, give you updates, let you know what was going on, and then move on to something else. Usually something else was me saying, okay, I'm going to go watch TV for a little while, have a good night. But it evolved into something much more. So what we're doing now is we're going to podcasting format, right? And so last week we talked about Daredevil a little bit. No, we talked about
the D&D movie.
D&D movie, and then before that was Daredevil. This week we're going back to the galaxy far, far away. Now, I had started writing something while I was at work today, and then of course I forgot to save it.
Happens.
It does happen. So I'm going to kind of wing it off the top of my head, as I'm prone to do. But I am a professional speaker, and you should trust everything I say. Ting. Hey, really? That was good, though. That was good. That was good.
A funny one.
That was good.
That type. So I saw your list a couple weeks ago that the panel programming team had come up with whatever.
Yep.
And you'd asked me 2 weeks ago if I had seen Skeleton Crew, and I'm like,
so you binged it?
No. So on Wednesday I binged all 8 episodes. As soon as I got home from work, I'm like, kids, don't talk to me.
Now that speaks. It is an easy watch.
It was.
They were all like 20 minutes, a half-hour episodes.
I think the first one was like 40.
Yeah, they
49
kind of set everything up, and then it
like
moves on.
29 or whatever.
Right.
And I'm just like, can I tell you, I love the little elephant creature guy.
Oh, Neil.
I don't know if it's
Neil, Wynn, KB, and Fern are the kids.
And Jod,
Jude Law's character has like 4 different names, of course, of the series. All right, so
guess what we're talking about?
We're going to be talking about that today. Now, before we get into Skeleton Crew directly, these are some of the things that I wanted to say, and I'm probably not going to do it justice because I was writing it down and it was coming along very nicely. Writing it down. What is she doing over there? Scratching. Okay. So I am old, as you all know. I remember seeing the original Star Wars in a theater. I think it was in 1977. My birthday's in September. I was about 6 years old when I first saw it. And that's the kind of impression that Star Wars makes on everybody. You were 5 years old. You were 4 years old.
Well, it depends on when it came out. I mean,
it came out in May.
Oh, yeah.
May 77. So you were 5 years old at the time. You were 5 years old. But I remember just the imagination and the wonder in my 6-year-old little brain going, like that. Over the next, how long has it been? It's been it's been 48 years. It's going to be almost 50 years coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In 2 more years.
I was an English major, but I still math a little bit.
Still math a little bit. 2 more years, it'll be 50.
In the 47, 48 years that Star Wars has existed at this point as the global phenomenon that it is, I've seen everything that's been televised, including things we don't want to talk about, like the infamous holiday special.
They mentioned that in the trivia for this because the kids are watching it or something.
And I loved it all. I have. I mean, there's been some of it's been a little disappointing. Some of it, the writing is a little weaker than others. But I don't see anything in Star Wars on screen as a disaster, as a terrible thing. And I've seen it all. So when I talk about my opinion of Star Wars, I'm not an expert, but I've seen it firsthand. I've seen the original version of the original movie in the original cuts without all the extra
The Stormtroopers that
Right.
Han Solo comes running into,
right.
that was re-released when it was re-released in the theaters in
Exactly.
1997.
Yeah. And I love it all, guys. And you know, you don't have to think it's all the best ever, but it's an all-encompassing thing. Now, I've read a lot of the books too over the years, and it's quite obvious that a lot of the books were written without full knowledge of what the source material was. But they were for entertainment. They were for entertaining grammar, high school, college-age kids that were diving into the Star Wars lore. So there's a lot of people out there that are like, "Ooh, Star Wars extended universe is only, you know, this lore comes from that, and this doesn't." You get lost in the minutia, and when you get lost in the minutia, you do not see the big picture. For instance, I'm going to shift to a different franchise for a moment. I was on a Star Trek board on Facebook, and somebody posted a picture of the underside of the Voyager as seen during Star Trek Picard season 3, and said, "This one window's too big," or "This one window's all wrong." And my response to that, I don't usually jump in on conversations like that, but I chose to because my mindset was set to that idea. And I said, maybe hear me out. And I could be wrong because I'm only speaking for myself, but hear me out. I don't care. If you get lost in the minutia, you miss the story. If you get lost in the size of the windows and the canon that has to do this, and this has to be this, and this has to be this, then you forget what it's all about. Star Wars, to bring us all around in a circle to complete the thought I was trying to convey, but didn't save it. What Star Wars is about a galaxy.
Far, far away.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of stars with thousands and thousands and thousands of planets around them and thousands of different species. And the Empire versus the Rebellion is a large portion of that saga, but it's not the whole thing. It is a canvas that you can paint any picture on. And Peter's asking about the Acolyte. I liked the Acolyte. The Acolyte was a slow start. But it was setting something up. If you had patience, which a lot of people do not have, including me about certain things. Anyway, if you had patience, there was a payoff. And that payoff was opening up a whole different level of storytelling about a different era that we had not seen before. And that's what Star Wars is all about. It's all about telling you a story based on a canvas that we all have common ground understanding. Star Wars is a global phenomenon at this point. There is very few people that have not experienced Star Wars in any way, shape, or form. There's some
I've got coworkers that are like,
I get it, but here's the thing. Even somebody who says, "I've never watched the movies," knows what they're talking about.
Right.
They know what Star Wars is. They've heard about it. They've heard people talk about it. They've seen the costumes. There is a small tribe in a southern Pacific island of, that are like in the Stone Age, and they're completely isolated. And people say, "Don't go there, or you will be eaten." They probably do not know Star Wars. I'm okay with that. But everybody else on the planet does. When you have 6 billion opinions about something, you are no longer in a position where you're going to get it right 100% of the time. You're no longer going to be able to make a product that suits everybody.
Right. It's like you can give everyone a car, but somebody's going to complain that it's not the color that they wanted.
Yes.
So you can't make everybody happy, but you just need to kind of check your brain at the door, kind of like when we watch movies and TV shows. And as you said, not get into the nitty gritty details about stuff and I'm like, there's a lot of the shows that I'm not caught up on. I mean, I started Clone Wars back in 2021 when I got COVID.
Right.
So but I'm only so many episodes in on that. I mean, I could not get into Andor. It was just something about it that.
And Andor is widely regarded as one of the best series because of the depth.
And it leads into what, Rogue One?
And it leads into Andor is going to have Andor season 2 coming up very soon. But they've already said, the showrunners have already said Andor season 2 is going to be it because there are certain hard stops that you have to hit. Diego Luna, who plays Cassian Andor himself, goes into Rogue One
And it doesn't
come out.
Yeah.
So there is a hard stop that has to happen, but they're trying. What's a lot of happenings are filling in gaps with a lot of the cool stories they've been telling lately. A lot of it is post-Empire, a lot of it is New Republic, a lot of it is, with Acolyte, they were trying to do High Republic, which was a couple hundred years before the fall of the Republic and the dawning of the Empire. There's online, you have the MMO Knights or Star Wars: The Old Republic. That's supposed to be like thousands of years before the Battle of Yavin, right? And so there's all of this history and all of this broad scope, and it gives you an opportunity to tell all sorts of different types of stories, and it's just masterfully done. And I wish people would just take a step back and go, what is this whole picture trying to show me? With the Skeleton Crew,
oh my God, that was so fun.
It was fun. It was a rollicking adventure. It was definitely geared for kids.
Yes.
The best way to describe it, and Nico hit on it, and we were planning on saying this ourselves anyway. It's like watching the Goonies in space. If you have not seen the movie The Goonies, what's wrong with you?
Oh
Who hurt you?
I was thinking tonight, it was like a combination of E.T. and Stranger Things. Like just the kid per thing that they're.
I'm not sure if I can get behind the Stranger Things reference.
No, I was just like with the group of kids together and things like that.
Well,
so
yeah, I mean, you go through the '80s, you got the Explorers, the Navigator, Stand By Me, even the Goonies, especially. There's a whole bunch of movies that Skeleton Crew harkens back to. It's a bunch of kids getting into a misadventure, but there's something even for the adults in it. It was a lot of fun to watch it in action. For me, and Tanya, we were talking about this, the Goonies references. It's a nostalgia aspect, right? It's watching Treasure Planet, which, by the way, is an entirely underrated animated movie. And if you have not seen it, I recommend it. Treasure Planet is amazing. The artwork, the voice acting, everything is good.
That has the big dirigible, right?
Yes.
Dirigible?
Is dirigible plums that go. Anyway, but the ship is the Legacy, and it's a full sailing ship that goes into space.
Yes.
On the winds of the Ethereum. It's great story.
I guess Treasure Planet's going to be on.
Well, yeah, because it's always on my list. Treasure Planet, which is basically an updated version of Treasure Island, the classic book from the 1800s, early 1900s, and became a Disney movie, and is an entire freaking section at Disney World, right, or Disneyland. There's this evolution of this. It can feel like a trope, but it's not. It's just a classic story, and everybody's got a spin on it. Like West Side Story. There's a play on Romeo and Juliet.
Oh yeah.
Right. So there's inspirations for everything.
Romeo and Juliet.
So we're gonna play a little bit in spoiler territory, but this is gonna be kind of a rough overview. Anyway, and just kind of a general talk. How many episodes was it? Was it 8?
I think 8.
8. And they're very easy. They're very smooth. They're
very fast.
The hero ship is just as cool as always. And for me, being my aspect of Star Wars geekery is the ships. I love the ships. I love all the ships, except for the Moldy Crow in the one Dark Forces game. I thought that was kind of weirdly looking. Ebon Hawk too. People love the Ebon Hawk, but I think it's a ridiculous looking thing. Andrew says Tanya's right. Stranger Things was inspired by all the same Amblin films that Star Wars Skeleton Crew was. All right, so
thank you.
No, don't thank him. But here's the thing:
Thank you, Andy Jr.
I can't see the Star Wars or the Stranger Things link into Skeleton Crew, but I can see that they were inspired by the same thing. So they're kind of in the same tree, but they're not on the same branch, in my opinion. And we can argue about that as you go, Andy. But it all goes. The whole thing circles around Wynn, who is a dreamer. He's a young boy. He wants to be more than just a kid working in the grand plan at home. And what was interesting, this is the first time you see a suburban setting in Star Wars.
Oh, I know. I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was like a track in Henrietta with the houses and the lawns and the roads and everything, and the kids going to school. I'm like,
wait
this is so cool.
I'm like, wait a second. Are you sure? I'm like, I'm not sure I'm watching Star Wars.
You were watching Star Wars in the suburbs. It was wild. I loved it. Just to see a Star Wars version of the suburbs, really it made my day. I was so happy about that.
Missing the bus.
And the kid kept missing the bus.
On test day.
Yeah.
On
Assessment day.
Oh, but yeah, but it goes in and it plays into with kids watching it and students watching and things like that. It goes into the fact that you've got the kids that are the dreamers, you got the kids that know what they're going to do, you got the kids that are this, and then you have all like Win is like, I'm stressed out about this because I don't think I'm going to do so well.
Which a lot of kids can relate to.
Right. So, but when he took the bike to go over the thing, and I'm like, "Ooh, this is not going to be good.
No,
this is definitely not."
You don't have ET on board. This is not going to go the way you think.
That's what made me think of ET was taking the bike through the forest to go. So I'm like, that was my ET. I'm just like, oh, okay. But
so Win has a rival too, and her name is Fern, and Fern has a best friend named KB, and then Win has his best friend who's little elephant boy Neil. And
adorable.
And that's your favorite character?
I want one.
You want one? They're not a possession. It's person.
But
it's a person, Tanya.
Stuffy of him.
Okay. It's a person, Tanya. I'm just saying.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. So, Win wishes for adventure, and he gets his wish. And he's like, okay, this is cool, but I'd like to go home now.
Yeah, nope.
And it's not going to happen.
Not for a while.
Yeah, they find a ship buried in this ravine. And they activate it because kids are klutzy and they push buttons, and there you have it. We're off and running. The ship turns out to be here's Spoilerville. We're in spoiler territory. You have been warned. If you do not like the warning, don't care. Anyway,
pause it and then come back on the
West Coast, feed down the way.
Yeah.
Apparently, you can binge it in an evening if you try. So the ship itself turns out to be this notorious pirate ship of old. The crew's long gone. But it immediately takes them to a harbor, which is basically the Tortuga of the Star Wars universe. It is a pirate island of sorts. And so the kids are trying to figure out their way around things. They meet Jude Law in a prison cell, of all things. Jude Law's character they kind of hint that he might be a Jedi. They kind of hint he might be a pirate captain. They kind of hint at a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm. But he's
just a good old-fashioned scoundrel, but he can use the Force a little bit. I think you find out down the road that he was a Padawan, but that's as far as he got. I think they make a reference to it or something like that.
Yeah. Just so I had started it Wednesday about say between 3 and 3:15. I was on the last episode at 7:18.
So 3.5 hours, give or take, almost 4 hours.
Yeah.
For 8 episodes.
And my kids came in, and a couple, they're like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, Star Wars Skeleton.
There you have it. And along the way, you find out that the Great Treasure Island is this planet of Aden.
Yes.
Okay. And you find out that the kids are from Aden. The planet you see with the great Star Wars suburbia is this supposedly like treasure planet of sorts. And it's protected by a shield and hidden. So the kids don't have, of course, they don't know the coordinates to go home because they're kids. They were never taught that sort of thing. They're working with the robot bosun. 5M33. But if you look at it, SME, so it's bosun SME. Come on. You didn't pick that up?
I did not.
Ha, I won something on that one. I'm smart. So they kept calling him 33, but it was 5M33. And if you look at it, SME. So it's me, and then Jude Law takes over as like, I'll help you, children. And the kids are like, yeah, cool, help you. And the audience is like, oh yeah, you're not up to anything. And the adventure begins as they go planet hopping to find clues, to find the way to get the kids home so that they can go to Aden. And then there's a big schmoz at the end, and as one would have it, there's fights and stuff along the way, and life lessons learned, and Win has this fill of adventure, but he's determined little bugger to keep moving forward.
I did like the owl too.
You like the owl?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the owl.
Kim?
Yeah, the owl astronomer.
Yeah.
He was cool. And then you see X-Wings and pirates and just there's a lot of cool stuff to it. So it's a new aspect in the Star Wars galaxy. It's fun. Are we allowed to have fun? Edgelords would say, no, everything has to be dark and edgy and mean and nasty and brutal and terrible and war. And we have to have war all the time and war. But no, sometimes you can kick back and have a rollicking good time. You can have fun. You can have an adventure. And that's what Star Wars can bring to you. Star Wars can bring to you all of that stuff. You have trivia? Did you have stuff?
Yeah, no, I was looking at this and then I'm like, oh, Acolyte's the one that I started and got stopped partway.
Yeah, I mean, you got to just muscle through. If you muscle through, it's good.
Okay, there's only a couple things of trivia.
Okay.
3 things of trivia. 5.
Tell me one thing of trivia.
Let's see.
And I'll make faces at the camera.
Well, you just talked the Shmi SM33. That was the last thing. But did you know that Disney's Peter Pan and Wendy from 2023 also starred Jude Law?
Was he Captain Hook in that one? I think.
Maybe.
I think I knew that.
I don't know. Let me click.
Well, no, stick with it. Okay, no, you've already wandered off.
Yes, he was Captain Hook.
Okay. Then so I didn't remember that one. Yes.
Okay. Back to my other trivia. They talked about the official trailer that was released in November 2024 features a rendition of Major Tom Coming Home that is translated to Huddies.
Nice. That's funny.
The holographic circus that's entertaining Neil's young siblings is a recreation of the same one Chewbacca's family watches in the infamous The Star Wars Holiday Special.
Okay.
Although sharing similar features to the ortolan species, which counts Max Rebo among its most famous examples, Neil and his family belong to an all-new species.
Okay.
It's
cool.
all
like an offshoot kind of, or a cousin species. Anyway.
I can't wait in May something.
For the live action Lilo and Stitch?
Yes.
I think really Disney needs to give up on the live action remakes of their animated classics.
Yeah.
I don't think they should have started in the first place.
No,
but that's a story. That's another conversation down the road.
Of all the live actions, other than like Beauty and the Beast, I want to see this one.
Okay.
But I liked Lilo and Stitch to begin with. I was looking to see what's coming up on our potential list.
Next week, Andy Jr. is suggesting DC Extended Universe and Arrowverse retrospective. I do not have the firepower for that because I kind of gave up on it halfway through. So I'd like a chance to maybe bring in some of the boys and have a chance to watch some of it myself. That might be like a summertime special kind of a thing. That might be like a dog pile, bring folks in kind of thing for that one.
I think I finished Arrow.
I almost finished Arrow. I think I stopped with about a season or 2 left. No, I stopped 2 seasons before Arrow did. I stopped halfway through Flash. I watched a couple seasons of Legends of Tomorrow.
Yes, I'm behind on that one.
I did see the first season of Supergirl.
I was watching the Supergirl.
I never saw any of Black Lightning. I did see a couple of the crossovers, but
I was watching.
I can't do that conversation justice. So definitely, I'm going to want to get a chance to look at that, watch that, and then bring in some firepower for that. Probably like the Andys and Tony and maybe Matt and a couple of the others. We'll have a proper roundtable kind of a night for that. But the 14th, he was suggesting Doctor Who 2024 Christmas special, Joy to the World review. We did touch on it briefly during a broadcast once. Did we? No, we didn't, because we were offline.
We were off until March.
We were offline for that.
So yeah.
So we could definitely. I think next week on the 7th of April, we're going to kick back and we're going to talk about the Doctor Who 2024 Christmas special, Joy to the World review.
Because isn't Doctor Who coming out April 13th?
Yes, he is.
So that'd be perfect to talk about.
Yes, it would. I think that's perfect timing. And then we'll be right in line for a Daredevil season 4 review, as season 4 will be pretty much complete at that point.
Okay, so I have to catch up on that.
Yeah, I think we're 2 episodes behind right now. So we're in good shape there.
What is Star Trek Section 31?
Section 31 is a movie that came out with Michelle Yeoh recently. It was direct to Paramount Plus. It's about Section 31, their spy group, their spy unit. It is not really well received. I have not personally watched it yet, but most of my friends who watched it was like, okay, it's Star Trek, but it's not all that well written. It wasn't all together. And that bothers me because Michelle Yeoh is a goddess and deserves all of our adulation and all the awards.
So I guess I'm watching that during spring break between the 14th and the 18th.
Yeah, we'll work on that one. And then Thunderbolts will be coming out, so that's a good one. We can, and I believe this is the first draft, and there's a second draft. And Andy sent it to me, but I misplaced it, so I'll have to track that down. It might be on Discord still. Also, we do have a Discord channel. It's not fully online yet, but it's coming together. So if you like chatting with us and keeping up with FC3 stuff, there might be a much better way than Facebook to do it in the very near future. Tony was helping me work on that recently. I got to catch up with him on that. So that's pretty much all we're going to talk about. Guys, if you have not seen Skeleton Crew yet, watch it. It was fun. It was fun. It was really well written. The kids were interesting. They weren't just whiny little brats. Jude Law's character was over the top, as Jude Law characters tend to be. The creatures were great. There was a lot of practical effects. The ships were awesome. It is Star Wars fun. Dyed in the wool. It's good stuff. I would recommend it. 2 thumbs up and a knee. So
2 more thumbs up.
2 more thumbs up.
And a toe.
And a toe. So next week, we're going to talk a little Doctor Who, which is always in a wheelhouse for Peter and I. Lots of fun to be had there. Until then, friends, family, countrymen, and all points in between. You guys, listen well. You stay safe. You have a great week. Have a safe week. And we will talk to you again
next week.
I gotta go now. Bye-bye.